Okay, so I assume you can see my screen. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what I've already done here is I've entered my username and password to get in the system, and that basically determines what menus I have on top of the screen here. My username and password also determines what menu access I have within these menus. My username and password also determines what icons I have available underneath the menu items. And we refer to these icons, they take you to, quick access areas within the business system. And then as an individual user, you have the ability to save favorite screens. So, my demo system, I'm always creating orders or looking up parts, equipment. So, individual users have that ability to save favorite screens. So what I have popped up here is an order entry form. And from this one form, you can create a sell, a return, or a quote for just about everything in the system, whether if it's parts, rental, equipment, miscellaneous, and we'll even allow you to quote labor on a counter sell, but for the most part, labor is handled in the service area of the system. And also here on the top left under order entry, we have a cash drawer box, which basically acts like a like a cash register, and we'll even allow you to process credit cards through the system. And the advantages of this is that we know everything about the order, customer's name, address, line items, what the line items are. So what we do is we pass level 3 data to the credit card processor. So you're always guaranteed the lowest possible rate for the card that's being presented. We don't, the customer may have used it before, or we store it in our system, but we never, store the card number in our system. It's never ever in our system. What we store in the system is a token that gets resolved by the credit card processor. So basically, the way it works is we give you the first 2 digits and the last 2 digits in order to identify and select the right card. So the next area of the system, yes, sir. And the next area of the system is our service area. This is where your work order headers are located, segments of the work order. But for the most part, we drive everything through what we refer to as Dispatch Central, which I just launched here from the icons. And here, what I just clicked on right now is your dispatch log, which is basically a list of all of your service work. And some of the different colors, what they represent, you see some blue on here. Basically, what that represents is a work order has been opened and a technician has been assigned. And we have some black here as well. And what that signifies is that one of the 2 conditions hadn't been met. And if you utilize our mobile service call, which allows your customers to log in their service calls, those would actually populate here in the dispatch log as orange. Okay, so here at the bottom we have a robust filtering system, so you can filter out between your shop jobs, your field jobs. Do y'all do PMs, preventive maintenance?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. I'll show y'all the calendar in a minute. So you can, filter out your PMs, and also that PM calendar, where my cursor's here at the bottom, this PM, it's going to launch up a preventive maintenance calendar. So you can search by either, I think y'all just got that one location, by your branch, particular month, year. So I think I got some back in July. You can also search PMs by customer, zone, technician, as well as ship to addresses. So if I select load, it's going to bring up the, what I have in branch 1, July 2019. So I have 3, and then I have 101 that are overdue. So if I click on the overdue, it's going to load those up. It'll take hopefully about 10, 15 seconds or less, should, because I have so many. And it'll load those overdue up. And now everything in our system is real time. So, I can just double click on one of these and it brings up a pop-up. So from this pop-up, you can go ahead and reschedule a PM, you can skip a PM, or you can reassign it or assign a PM. Now, anything that you do in our system, pertaining to like this piece of equipment, or if you skip a PM or reschedule it, it's still going to record that to the history of that particular piece of equipment in the equipment record, which I'll show you in a minute. So you'll have this pop up here. Now you'll notice here but there's some items that are in red, for example. What that signifies is that a customer's credit has been exceeded. So you might want to, take care of that before you, move forward. And also here, you can also open up work orders. You can go ahead and add it to dispatch, assign it to a tech, all from the PM calendar. Will allow you to do that. Okay. So next over is inventory control. We break up inventory between parts and equipment. So under parts here, this is where your parts master is located, which is basically like a list of all of your, a catalog of all of your parts. This is where the manufacturer price files are automatically uploaded into the system. Now, the first time that a part has either been sold, ordered, or even when a customer inquires about a part, we drop that automatically into the branch parts master. And once that's added to the branch parts master, this is where we begin, tracking call demand history, utilizing Poisson. Mins and maxes are adjusted, as well as, all the inventory parameters all begin to kick in once it hits the branch parts master. We have a very robust parts locator. All of your inventory controls are located here. So now under equipment, we break up equipment between serialized and unserialized equipment. We have a very robust equipment search, which I'm going to bring up here. So when you bring up the equipment search, or you want to search equipment, you can search by, branch, the status of a piece of equipment, whether if it's available, on rent, reserve, demo, and then all the rest of the choices here. And then underneath that, you have type, rental, new, used, fixed asset. Now the column next to it, the search by, you can also search by group, you can search by product, manufacturer, model, classification, subclass, and description. Next column over to the right is attributes. These are all fully customizable. If you have a certain attribute you need to, or attributes, you can select multiple by holding down the control key. And then when you're finished, you just click on search. So for demonstration purposes, I want to see what's available, and I want to see what's on rent. So I'm going to search. And now it's going to bring up all those pieces of equipment, but I think it's actually mine. I think it's on rent. Yeah. So actually, I'm going to search on branch 1, everything that's on rent. So when I click on select, I have this Clark 3 that I usually select. So if I double click on it, it's going to bring me into this the equipment master record. So the first thing you're going to see when you come into an equipment master record is you're going to see the machine ID, which is you can customize it. You can assign machine ID numbers, or you can have system generated, whichever you prefer. This is where you would enter the group, the product, the model, manufacturer, classification, subclass, and then the serial number. If there's anything attached to it, or if it attaches to something, you can also attach that here at the bottom. Now, underneath the equipment information, you have the rates, the rental rates. Next to that on the bottom, next column is the miscellaneous, like where it's located, when it was ordered, when it was received, manufactured. On the bottom here to the right of the miscellaneous is the characteristics, capacity, units of measure. And then we also have a characteristics tab. Now, if I click on this characteristics tab, what it's going to do is going to bring me into equipment characteristic. Now, this is 40 different fields that's all fully customizable, however you want it. All these labels are customizable. But what this is good for is you can set up, and attach it to this a piece of equipment, like what oil field is required for it, what kind of spark plugs, engine type, hydraulic filters information. So if you want, you need to order a part or something, you could just come into the, this machine characteristics and just, kind of look that up because it's already attached to the, that piece of equipment. But like I said, all of these fields here on the left are all fully customizable, however you want to set it up. Okay, so You can also, the system allows you to import images into the system across pretty much all departments. So you see this forklift right here, for example. So here on the icon bar, where this images folder is, that's where you would just drag and drop the images. So if I click on that, it'll bring up the Clark 3 images, and you could just you know, drag and drop those over. So like I here on the CSV file, I have a couple of JPEGs, and then the first picture that comes up is actually the name of that piece of equipment. Like this was Clark3.jpg, so that's why you see the first image. All right, and next to the picture to the right, to the left is like this description of the piece of equipment. Underneath that is the status, which this particular equipment is on rent, and underneath it, it's a rental piece of equipment. So now if I click on this detail tab right here, it's going to bring me into all the financial information that's attached to this piece of equipment. You know, this is a demo version, so I do a lot of you know, work on this piece of equipment. So here, where this detail type is, it's a drop-down menu. So items 1 through 6 here resonate all to the book value of the piece of equipment. So you could, you know, sort out original cost, brings up the book value information, you know, any kind of freight that may be attached to it, depreciation costing would all be linked under there to it. Now, also on this drop down, you see these items A through I. They're not book value information, but it's information you may want to, you definitely need to know. Like you maybe want to know the income this piece of equipment is brought in, you know, any principal, interest. So all the financial information that's attached to a piece of equipment would be located here. I mean, it's spread out through much of the system, but in terms of just bringing everything together. And, you know, just like everything else in our real-time system, it's very easy to export things out into, you know, Excel format, for example, or if you want to export it in an email, it's very easy to do so in the system. Okay, so over here to the left, we talked about the general, with the information under the general tab. Now this financial tab here is, this is where your book value information is located, depreciation method, so, and then the GL accounts that are assigned to it. So everything about that deals with the financial aspect of this Clark 3 piece of equipment would be listed here. Now under service, this is where the warranty information is located, life-to-date warranty billings, warranty paid, life-to-date expense repairs, all will be under the service tab. Rental, this is where your historical rental data information, your life-to-date rental billings, life-to-date rental expenses. Right now, this piece of equipment is on rent. It tells you when it went on rent, and then the customer. Also the rental agreement number and when the expected return date is. We talked about the detail tab, the financial information. Now under memo, you can add memo notes and notes to tie to this piece of equipment. We have a spelling check as well. Any type of open work orders next to this memo tab would be populated here. And if there was a work order or anything else in our system, you could just double click and it just would go right into that work order. The summary tab basically just summarizes, like, for example, the last 12 months rental expenses, the last 12 months rental income, total original cost with attachments, and total book value with attachments. And then it also gives you your profit information. Gross return on investment, net return on investment. So all the financial summary data would be here. If you have attachments, they would be populated here under the attachments tab. Any open purchase orders. And then this last column, this additional information, this would be all fully customizable however you want it. If you want to add additional information like any drop-down menus, you can add that here as well. Okay, so that's inventory control equipment. Next area would be accounting. Closing these windows out. Oh, and here at the bottom, before I go into accounting, you see here at the bottom where my cursor's at here, you can actually have multiple windows open, and you can just toggle around between screens. So that's a good feature to have. So here on top here, the next item I want to talk about is accounting. This is where all of your, like your general ledgers located, all of your financial formats, financial selections will be located here, journal entries. Now during the initial setup, we will take your chart of accounts, and if you're satisfied with them, we'll go ahead and convert them as is into our system. But if you wanted to make some changes, that would be the time to change formats if you wanted to. Accounts payable. This is where your vendor master is located, where you'll set up all of your vendors, or pay your vendors, your vouchers located, where you can process checks electronically, all your AP reports. So everything that has to do with accounts payable is under this area. Next is purchasing. This is where all of your purchasing takes place, with the exception of parts purchasing. Parts purchasing is handled under the inventory control under parts, and the type of purchase orders that you would issue out here are like your emergency order purchase orders, your EDO purchase orders, your system generated stock orders, and then your manual stock orders for parts. Those would actually be handled under the parts area. Here, under purchasing, this is where like your general purchase orders will be issued, your shop job purchase orders, which are tied to a work order and a segment of the work order, and we won't allow you to close the work order out until it has been received. And then also under this purchasing would be like your equipment purchases, purchasing pieces of equipment. For best practices, one of the things that we recommend is that, when you issue a purchase order, go ahead and create the equipment ID or the asset number at the time of the purchase order. So what happens, it goes into an orders to status. Then you can start, opening up work orders, buying things from other vendors or manufacturers, adding those to that piece of equipment. And then when you receive that piece of equipment, it either becomes available unless you've already sold it. So next would be credit, accounts receivable. This is where your customer master is located. This is where you'll set up all of your customers. This is where all of your accounts receivable aging reports are located. Your customer credit card master is where you'll set up your customer's credit card information. So, credit analysis, summary reports, credit release authorization. So anything that has to do with AR is under credit. Under marketing, this is where the CRM is located. We do have a CRM mobile application where your sales reps or whoever you give access could from a mobile device could have the CRM on their mobile device where they can add notes, schedule calls, and all that would be in real time fluctuate back to the business system. Under this marketing, we also have various sales analysis reports where you can set up your commissions. So all that's under the sales and marketing area. Under this control files, not many people would have access to this. Basically, this is administration only. This is where we'll set up your dealer controls, all of your pricing controls, for the parts, labor, branch, everything that controls the system, customize it to your dealership is all under this control files. Under the administration, this is where all the users will be set up. You can give as much access to the software as you want, or you can just customize it down to a particular job or a particular report. So when they enter their username and password, that just pops up on their system. We also have a database query tool called Table Reader, which you can actually select, tables throughout the system. You can also search by, particular keys, like for example, this is accounts payable checks, for example. You can search by, vendor number, vendor invoice, by different keys. And then what you'll do is you'll select the fields. And then from here, if this is the data you want, or if you want to skinny it down more, you can by deselecting particular fields. you can go ahead and export this to Excel, or you can save it and assign it to someone within the company. So when they enter their username and password, they come to the table, come up here to where this glass button is, or this magnifying glass. They'll have all their assigned tables that they're allowed to view. So you can actually set up different queries for other people within your organization to review.
Okay.
Now, underneath the menu items, we have these icons. So starting to the far right, you do have field technicians or just shop technicians or both?
We have both.
Okay, so good. So this calendar I think you're going to like. A lot of our dealers actually put this on big screen TVs. This is actually a technician, it's a call scheduler, basically to schedule out your technicians for jobs that have been assigned to them. I think I need to update this because I think I have some back in September or sometime. Let me see. Yeah, there it is. So from this calendar, from this call schedule, you'll have a list of all of your technicians here, their technician number. If I just double click on one, for example, this Ron Hagen, it'll have on the pop-up, it'll have this technician number, the name of the technician. You'll have this drop-down menu, which you could schedule him out if he's on sick, on vacation, taking a personal day, or other. And then you'll schedule it out from a start date to an end date, all from this little pop-up by just double-clicking on it. Now you'll see here to the right this little scheduler out. I have some already set up. You can hover over it, and it gives details on that. Where that what's been assigned to that technician. So say, for example, if I want to adjust the time for example. So if I select one and come over here to the right, I can just reduce the time or schedule it out more, however I want to do it. And if I want to go ahead and reassign someone, I just select it, and I could just just move it down, just drop it, drop it to another technician. Now, after I do that, you want to click update, because that go ahead and updates not only the call scheduler, but it goes back into our dispatch central and updates in our dispatch log and just updates the whole record. So yeah, a lot of our customers use this very religiously. So next is a warranty tracking system. This automatically populates all of your warranty and drops it into this warranty claim log, I like to call it. If I double click on one of them, it's going to bring me into a warranty claim submission form. So here I'll have the branch number, the work order number, the vendor information here to the right of it. Now underneath it is the equipment data, what piece of equipment that you perform warranty work on. The customer's name would be to the right of that. Underneath it, this amount, this was the cost, what was invoiced, what was claimed, what was received, unrecovered. And here at the bottom, this warranty claim information, we have some drop-down menus here under warranty type, this component code, failure code. Now these are manufacturer specific. We're actually pulling these from a control file that that's been set up here under the control files. So these are all pertaining to whatever manufacturer this is. Now under this detail tab, you can review all of the list of charges, what was claimed, what was received if you received it. And in this drop-down menu, you can also review any kind of notes. You can add, and the notes you have, you can add internal notes, you can review work order notes, any kind of customer complaints, cause of failure, and then maybe any corrective action that you've taken would also populate here as well. Now if I go back here to this header tab to where the warranty information is, if your manufacturer allows it, you could submit this claim electronically by hitting the submit claim. And we'll even allow you to have unlimited submissions to submit it as many times as you need it. If you made a mistake, or if you need to add something, you just adjust it wherever you need it to be, and then just click new submission. Now the last thing that I want to show you under the warranty claim information is reports. So under the warranty claim log, if I click on the reports, it'll bring up a pop-up to where I could I can review, open work orders, what was submitted, any final work orders, anything that was maybe rejected, resubmitted, or canceled. I'm going to select open from a date to a particular date. So I want to look at everything from the beginning of my system until today. I'll tell you what, I'm going to skinny it down because it's a lot of information. If you have multiple branches, you might select brand. You might, filter out by branches, by customers, manufacturer, models, and serial number. Here at the bottom, under the report qualifiers, if you have a name a particular warranty, you would type in the warranty type. You can also filter out open longer than exit amount of days, and then the different type of report you want. So now I have my the filtering however I want it now. So I'm going to click OK, and now it's going to build that report. So here I can review the report that just pops up here, and then from here where my icon is, I can go ahead and print it out. I can export it to Excel, email it out, however you would like to get extract data out of our system. So it's fairly easy to extract data out. Okay, so next to the warranty tracking system, this fire truck looking thing, that's our transportation system. So much like what we do for technicians in Dispatch Central, this keeps everything you need to have, everything that needs to be, picked up, delivered, transported. So if I double click on one of these, it brings me into the request area where I can, this is going to be a pickup. I would add any kind of special instructions. Add special instructions. Here at the bottom is the piece of equipment that he's picking up, the customer's name. You can actually print out a map. And then when you verify everything and add that information in, you would select the truck number. And these are all customizable fields too. And also this is customizable here where the carriers are at. So when you selected the carrier instructions, you go here and click on the update. It'll bring it back here into not dispatched. Then you would select it. You select the that needs to be selected, and then you would just go ahead and just dispatch it. We'll even allow you to print out a bill of lading for your truck driver, and then once you dispatch it, it'll go into this dispatch log, and then from there it'll go into the history. And we do have a mobile app. Well, it's part of our eSign mobile application for the truck drivers that'll allow the truck drivers, or your truck drivers, to see everything that has been dispatched to them. So they can go out to the location, they can take pictures, they can get electronic signatures, of a piece of equipment that they're transporting or dropping off. And it's even sophisticated enough to when you take a picture, for example, it logs in the longitude and latitude, and it's time stamped on that piece of on that picture. There were some legal issues I think a dealer or two of ours had in the past to where a customer tried to challenge that in court. So that's kind of why we have the timestamps that we have. That's another aspect I want to highlight, is that our software and our development is all dealer driven. Where we get our ideas for the mobile apps. We create a lot of focus groups to help us through process flow, so we can go ahead and develop apps or the further development of the software. And then like I said, once it's been dispatched and that part's taken care of, it'll drop over into the history. So the process flow for the transportation is just complete, from the request, not dispatch, you dispatch it, and then after that it's done. So next is this green shaking hands. This is the CRM. And here, when I launched the CRM, like I said earlier, we have a CRM mobile application that's tied to this. And here, where it has CU, we have two different types of contacts. We have an MU, M as in Mary, U as in Unity, which basically means like a marketing contact. This is like a prospect. CU, what I have here is like a customer that's buying already. So this Smith company is my demo customer. You can see the sales volume, and you could turn off certain areas. Like if you didn't want to show the sales volume to a salesman, for example, you can just turn this area off. You can see the physical address located here, a call calendar, any sales reps that this particular customer is assigned to, SIC codes. Now here to the right, you can view, any calls that were maybe scheduled for this particular day would populate here. You can see all the pending calls, any completed calls, as well as any scheduled opportunities, which I'll show you how to set up in a second, would all populate here. Now to this contacts tab here, this is where you can, add contacts, you can schedule calls, you can unschedule calls, the system allows you to send emails directly from the system, and then this is area under contacts where you can add your opportunities. So speaking of opportunities, if I click on the Opportunities tab, I need to add more opportunities to it. I just got one, so you can filter out by start date, end date, current for the particular month. Like I got one opportunity in my system right now. And then this Groups tab here, basically you can create different groups, and the CRM allows you to send out mass emails to people. Like if you have break specials or service specials, you can actually select a template or create template using Microsoft Word, and you can just upload those templates into the system and just select a template. And once you create your groups, all you have to do is just click on Send Email, and it'll just start blasting it out to everyone. So it's a real good email, and this is tied to Outlook too. We have an Outlook add-on as well. Okay, so next to the green shaking hand is our Customer Central. So let me bring one up here. So we refer to Customer Central as basically your one-stop place to see everything there is to know about a customer. So I loaded my demo customer up, the Smith Companies, and here under this Customer Info tab, you'll see the customer's name, their address, sales pricing codes will be launched here, any kind of discount codes will list here, payment terms. Underneath all that, underneath here, you'll see this customer's credit limit, what his available credit is, and on the bottom is just accounts receivable aging information. So this is the customer area, Customer Info tab. Next, open work orders, quotes will allow you to filter out between open work orders and quotes. And like everything else in our system, drillable, real time. So if I just double clicked in one, it brings me into a work order. Open documents would show up here. So we break up under this open documents between parts and equipment. So parts, you can review parts orders, parts quotes, parts purchase orders, as well as equipment orders, equipment quotes, and equipment purchase orders. PM schedule. So all this customer's pieces, all his or her pieces, equipment would all be listed here that have any kind of PM schedule, PMs assigned to it. Customer specific information. This is customer specific information across all departments. So as you can see here, if I click between them, you can see the different notes from departments, customer specific info. Behind customer specific is rental information. So you can filter out by, rental orders for this customer, rental quotes, reservations, and history. Next is the open dispatch. Any kind of open dispatch will populate here. And then we also bring in that filtering system I was showing you on our dispatch log. Basically, this is Dispatch Central, or the dispatch log, but it's just, custom down to a customer. So you can you can filter out by any kind of shop jobs, field jobs for the Smith Company, any kind of PMs would all populate here under open dispatches. Work order history, you can search by work order history. Customer profile, this is just a summary of all the parts that this customer has purchased. If I clicked on it, you're going to see a lot of parts because, it's a demo unit, but you'll see the cost, what this particular customer has spent over time. is escape, equipment owned, current rentals, and then the summary sales volume. You can see it'll summarize it by this month, this year, and then calendar prior year. And then also, as you see here on the bottom, you can go ahead and you can create an order, you can create a dispatch, and then you can, and the system allows you to open up a work order all from Dispatch Central. Now, there's some of our customers that all they do is just, stay in a Dispatch Central, working it, because it just, sends you across all departments. I'm going to come over here to this credit analysis, credit release, authorization information. Now, just like everything else in our system, not many people will need credit analysis or credit release. You would just turn these screens or these tabs off. Not everybody would have access to it. So, credit analysis information, you can search by summary and detail. We have this drop down I just brought, just dropped it down. You can, filter out by AR detail, prior balances, memo data, rentals, work order history, sales volume, customer info, and then the accounts receivable history detail. So just kind of show you how it filters out. And then credit release information, you can, you can review all the prior releases, you can do a credit release, you can view all the historical aging information, detail, memo data. And then the last thing I want to show you is pricing parts inquiry. So if I enter the part number here, it'll bring in the cost of this part, the availability on hand, where it's located, the bin location number, and then the cost, what this customer's cost is, everything about a particular part will populate here. You see this red thing that says subs and super sessions. If I click here on this part, there's superseding part numbers, as you can see, which is tied to this part. So that's Customer Central. Next, we talked about the Dispatch Central. I guess talk about the help menu. So from the help menu, we structure it just like we do the menu items on top of the software, like starting out with order entry. So say, for example, if you have a new person coming on board and they need to know how to create a parts order, so they can just come to this tree, and we have people working on this pretty much every day, keeping it up to date and in normal layman's terms and with pictures, and that's the way I like it. And they can go in here and every single field is fully explained what the field does. So, all of our instructions and our training is very, detailed oriented for the average person. So, I mean, you can do, if you have accounting professionals coming in, how to create journal entries, different financial formats, rentals, how to create a rental order. So just everything about the system, help-wise, is located here. Now, I'm not trying to discourage you from calling technical support or anything, but, we do have technical support 24/7, whenever you need it. You can open up, go to our website, ebs-next.com, open up support tickets. You can just call into our office, 24 hours a day, and always reach a technical support professional. We're all based here in Houston, Texas, so they're just right down the hall from me. Under this stack of papers, this is what we refer to as document display. Anything that happens on the system, we save it. Basically, we condense it down into a text version. So if I click on the invoice here, for example, this is a work order invoice, for example, and it just brings it just condenses it down into a text format. Now, from this screen, you can, when you email this out, or if you want to print it out, it actually makes it a lot nicer than what it's shown here. It'll have your logo, header, all of your details. But for space purposes, on if you're going to do on-premise or cloud, it just shrinks it down into a text format. So here you can print it out. It'll print out into your with your logo. So yes, we save every document, everything that happens on the system, we save it and timestamp it. Now, in addition to this, we have a see if I can. Let's see if I got it here. I want to show you our eSuite booklet. Kind of briefly talk about our mobile applications, since this is it's getting bigger and bigger. So right now we have about 9 mobile applications, 2 more being developed as we speak. It seems like that, you know, everything is going more mobile, and maybe in the future the only thing the business system is going to be used for is maybe it seems like accounting, because now we're developing, you know, we just came out with Optimize, our field service mobile application here for iOS and Android. Basically this allows you to speak to text notes, you know, all of the technicians assigned dispatch is located on here, so they'll be able to do anything from an iOS, Android device. They'll be able to capture electronic signatures, take pictures of what they worked on. If they don't have a part on their van for something, or they need a price quote from the office, they can take a picture of it, and there's like an icon there that sends that quote to whoever the person who's responsible for quoting the technicians. So this is really a game changer for the either construction heavy equipment or lift truck industry right now. So I put a few screenshots up here when I was developing this marketing stuff. Next, we have a customer self-service web portal, which allows your customers to see all their invoices. They can pay their invoices online. Any kind of current rentals. They can ask you a question through this self-service portal. So this is another part of eSuite. Mobile service call, and all of our apps can be branded to your brand. Like this is Anderson Material Handling. So the mobile service call here allows customers to communicate. Your customers communicate from the job site. They can update meters. They can log a service call, which will populate on your dispatch log, all from this mobile device. eSign allows you to electronically, it allows you to deliver parts, rental orders, complete rental check-ins and check-outs, as well as, like I told you earlier, that we just came out with the truck driver through our transportation management will be able to capture pictures of everything that he's delivering and picking up, and capturing that electronic signature as well. All from our mobile eSign mobile device. CRM mobile, just CRM on the mobile device. Anything that happens on the mobile device, it automatically syncs that back into the system. For example, if one of your technicians is out where there's no internet connection, what happens is everything is saved on his device, and as soon as he hits the internet, it automatically syncs that back into the business system. We added that automatic syncing because we have a customer that's way up in Maine by the Canadian border that they do all forestry work, so they're out in the forest. And then we have another customer that's they work in LA in the middle of the city, but they work down in buildings and stuff like that where concrete walls are like inches thick, where they don't have internet connection. So it just saves everything that they do and then automatically updates once they hit internet connection. Next mobile app that we have is eCount. A lot of we support barcoding and QR codes, whichever you prefer. I mean, here you can if you receive parts, you can just use a QR code, scan those parts in. Physical cycle counting, you can all do that from a mobile device, and then as well as equipment inventory. Quote to sell allows your sales team to quote items inside and outside of your inventory. When a quote becomes a sale, it update that into the main system where it's processed, ordered, and invoiced. eSearch is basically just an iOS, Android aspect of the equipment inquiry search. When I showed you earlier in our big business system how you can use different perimeters to search for, what's available on rent and stuff like that. This is actually the mobile app version of it. So you can see, pictures of pieces of equipment, and it's a lot of our customers use that as well. And then kiosks, if you have cash register, you have a little electronic kiosk. Y'all can have customers electronically sign next to your cash register. So that's the EBS kiosk. The next mobile application that we're coming out with is a trade-in application, and then I believe some sort of equipment images application. I don't know for sure what that is, but it's in development, as we speak. So basically, from a high-level overview, that's our EBS systems. It can, if you use it to an full advantage, you can turn your entire dealership paperless and just print out whatever you need. I mean, it can, basically run, manage, and automate pretty much every single department. Saving your money, over time. Now, conversion aspect, if you decide to select us, the way that process works is that, the first thing that we do is one of the project managers will come out to your location and conduct, discovery or pre-site. They'll learn everything about your business. They'll meet with every single department, collect all data that needs to be converted. And then what happens from there, they'll come back and then they'll, start customizing the business system. From there, what they'll do is they'll contact you and schedule a time to show you your data in our system before any scheduled training is to be, scheduled at that time. Once that's been checked off by you, then they'll come out and do a training over your data and flush out any bad data that may have been picked up during that week. And then Saturday, that Saturday before you go live, everything is all the bad data is flushed out. And then that Monday, you're live on the system, and our guys do over-the-shoulder training after that week. And once that takes place, he'll schedule time to come back out and do help you close your first month out. So that's basically how the data conversion and installation process work. We've been developing this software and doing conversions since 1964, the oldest in the industry, and it's a good, stable product. We have, like I said, we have dealer focus groups. We have an EBS users group that meets once a year, met last year in New Orleans, and that's how our development is driven. And then we also do, so if we bring a new customer in and there's certain processes they need to keep going in their organization, if they help us with explaining us the process flow, we have the team down the hall to develop it. So that's one unique thing about our software. It's actually a customizable software, not a one-size-fits-all. Is there any questions that you may have, or what do you think about it so far?
So I do have some questions. So for the first question, so for the application I see there on the desktop, is this a on-premises hosted or is it cloud-based?
It's however you want it. We deliver it three different platforms. On-site, which you host the server. The second two are cloud-based. One is traditional cloud, where you'll pay a lower upfront amount, but you'll pay a continuous, monthly fee over and over and over and over, which doesn't change. And then we have what is called platform as a service, which basically is a hybrid between the on-site and the cloud in respect where it allows you to license the software up front, pay a little bit more up front, and then a lower monthly fee. And the break-even point between the cloud and the platform as a service is around 5 years. Since our average customers have been, are with us for, 25, 30, oldest customers 42 years, it's not a, 5-year type thing. It's a long-term investment. And, you probably rent equipment, if, like on just traditional cloud, if you keep paying something over and over and over and over again, you'll be paying more than what it's worth. So that's why we, offer the platform, which is still cloud-based, but it, just lowers your monthly. You'll pay a little bit more in licensing it. And then also, you can host it on your own platform if you want to. I mean, no matter what you decide to go with, it's the software works the same. We just give you more flexibility to whatever works for you.
Okay, so on that, with pricing stuff, so how is the user stuff set up? Is it each individual needs an account and a license? Is it, you have 5 licenses, so 5 people can be signed in? How is that set up?
Well, the way it works is that on-site, for the on-site is concurrent users in the cloud, and the just traditional cloud is based on, well, no, I'm sorry. The on-site is concurrent users, total amount of users on the system at the same time. And what happens if you have 10 licenses, if the 11th person logs in, for example, they'll just get a notification that, someone needs to log off, or you can call and, add a license if you need to. I mean, it doesn't shut anybody down or anything. And then on the cloud, each user on the system would be required to have a license, because we don't control that aspect. The hosting, the people that host us requires that. And that includes, the cloud bases, it seems like most people are going that route, either the platform or the cloud, because, you don't have to pay all the Microsoft licenses, the SQL licenses, and everything else that pertains to. So, but what I can do is I'll give you, what I like to do is give you 3 proposals, all 3 of them, and then we'll talk about it and let you pick out which one would work for you.
Okay, and so when in discussing a user, so are all the mechanics considered a user? Is it just people who are in processing and approving orders or things like that? What is the definition of a user in the system?
Well, I mean, who would be using the system? Like, definitely accounting, maybe, someone in service, parts, whoever you think is going to be a user. Now your shop guys, I mean, what would they be using on the system? Just clocking in and out of jobs, or what would you have them doing?
It kind of depending on where things want to go. I'm more on the technical end than the actual shop management stuff.
Okay.
So for as far as that, I mean, we have some mechanics who are going to be working on the floor. We also have some service guys who are going to be out in the field working on stuff. So they would be in there. We'll have salespeople. We'll have our parts and service manager. He's mostly going to be working in the actual location. And then as far as our accounting parts go, most of that is handled or resourced out. So in addition to being a dealer, we are a construction company as well, and so our payroll department handles that for
okay. Yeah, and then our system supports multiple companies as well, so it has that availability as well. But what I always recommend is, before you get your technicians on there or add the mobile apps, let's get everyone on the core system first, train and go. And then from there, then we can add the technicians and the rest of the people. That's what we recommend, because, learning a whole new business system is going to be, one of the challenging parts of it. I mean, not from training them or anything, but just, it's just something new. But I guess your core users, I mean, and the thing about it is, if you need to add users, I mean, it's just, we'll just call in or email me. I have people email me all the time to add a user. I mean, it doesn't have to be, accurate right on the money, but I mean, just, whatever you think, just maybe look at it right now as your core users, I guess. Who would be the core users on the system?
Okay.
And then you can email me that, and as soon as I get that information, I can, provide you with those 3 proposals.
Okay, I can get that sent over to you, and I've got to take off here. I got another meeting. But I had some other questions, but I will put that in there in the email with the numbers, and then we can just go through that.
Okay. And what's your timeline for getting a new system in? Are you wanting to have it by the first of the year, or what's your expectations?
My expectation is different than what everyone else currently is. I need this, but we are hoping to be in place by the first of the year.
Okay, so you want to be up and running by January 1st, correct? Is that what you're saying?
ideally, yes.
Okay. All right, that's no problem. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem if if you select us by say by second, third week in November, we can get a pre-site and get all that taken care of. So yeah, email me those questions and then the count, and I'll get that quote over to you and we'll work from there.
Okay, that sounds great. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.